Wow, what a night. Thank you guys for being out. How does it feel now to have Conservative Party rockin' British Columbia? There's no question this has been a historic night. This has been a night where we have seen the political landscape in British Columbia change forever. And that's all because of you, because of the work that you guys have done and your support. So I just want to start by saying thank you to everybody who's been part of this Conservative Party in British Columbia. When I was first asked to consider taking on the leadership of the Conservative Party, I did question. I said, wait a second here, this party is at 2% in the polls. It hasn't elected anybody in almost 50 years. It hasn't formed a government in almost 100 years. But I looked at it, and in particular, I started going around the province, just jumping in my car, driving around with my chief of staff, and we would go and start meeting with a few people. And we'd have a couple of people in here, and maybe 4 people over there, maybe a dozen people in another community. And everywhere we went, we heard the same thing. People were hungry for common sense change in British Columbia. And that momentum kept growing. Every time we went to another location, we came back to the location, we'd have more. We'd have double, triple, quadruple the numbers that would come out. People from all across the province saying, you know what, I actually think we've got a shot to do something here. And that belief kept growing. That belief right around this province kept building to the point today now where we now have the strongest Conservative Party that this province has seen in 100 years. And the beauty of this is a grassroots movement. This is just people that the salt of the earth, the hard-working, everyday people in this province that have stepped up to the plate and said, yes, we can do things different. We can envision a province that can bring hope and prosperity for people across the province. That is what we've been trying to do as the party. That's what we have brought forward. And that, quite frankly, is why we're seeing us still neck and neck with the NDP. And we have not given up this fight yet. We are going to keep pushing hard. And I believe strongly that this is what happens when you stand on values. This is what happens when you stand on principles. You put it out there, you say, this is their vision. This is what we can do for a province. This is where we can see our youth being able to build a future. And that is where I think we have gotten our strength. And I tell you something, we are so close right now. There is just a couple of seats that are just within 20, 30 votes that could very easily flip for us. There's still votes yet to be counted, and I am optimistic that the people in this province are hungry for that change. And I can tell you something, what we have seen to date, because of the work that we've been doing, because of the pressure that we're putting on this government, think about it, they flipped on the carbon tax, they flipped on decriminalization. They flipped on involuntary care. They flipped on a whole bunch of things because they could see the damage that was being done. But I bet you this, and I'll say this right now, that if we have the unfortunate situation of David Eby being in a minority government, he will not do a single thing that he has promised. And that is something I'm almost guaranteed. And as the Conservative Party of British Columbia, if we're in that situation, we are going to make it as difficult as possible for this NDP to do any more destruction of this province. We are going to continue this fight. We are going to continue this fight over the next days, over the next weeks, over the next months. If we have that honor of forming government, I can tell you something, we still are not going to give up. We're going to fight every single day to try to make sure that we do everything we can to improve the lives of people in this province. People are counting on us. People are counting on the hope, on the opportunity, on the vision of what can be a British Columbia, a prosperous British Columbia, not one, quite frankly, that is in a welfare state that it is today. That is what we are going to continue to fight on as the Conservative Party of British Columbia, certainly now and over the years to come. And I can tell you something else. If we're in that situation of the NDP forming a minority government, we will look at every single opportunity from day one to bring them down at the very first opportunity and get back to the polls. This is too important for the people in this province. It's too important to not give or to give up. It's too important to not keep fighting. People, the one thing I've heard and that really gave me strength throughout this entire campaign is the people coming up and saying that we were giving them hope. We were giving them hope to be able to stay in this province and build a future. And to me, that's what has really struck to my heart. That is what has driven me, and I know that's what's driven our candidates, that hope that we can actually do something big and bright and better in this province. So we're going to continue that, and I want to just say this to all of our candidates who stepped up to the plate and who ran, thank you. You took a chance on us, you put your name forward, you gave us your time, your energy, and you did us proud right across this province. And we have now elected already the largest number of Conservatives in BC's history. But I tell you something, the candidates didn't do it alone. It was the volunteers that helped to make it work. And everywhere I went around the province connecting with the campaigns, the volunteers came out, they were part of it, they just did an incredible job. And I can't thank the volunteers enough that took part in this campaign. You have really done this proud. You've done our province proud. Most importantly, though, you have done this party and you've done our hope, just spreading that hope for people. So thank you so much to our volunteers. I tell you, without it, we would not have been able to do anything that we've done here today. You know, from day one, when I was kicked out of my former party, for daring to stand up for my riding and the values that I believe should be that we should fight for in this province, there was a person who really stood with me and helped me all the way along, and that was my Chief of Staff, Azim Jawani. He is somebody who has been working behind the scenes tirelessly and has done a tremendous amount. Thank you so much to Azim. And I have to laugh because in August of 2022, after I found myself as an independent, I sat down and Azim said, hey, we've got to meet with Angelo. We've got to meet with Angelo Isadora, who is the one of the he was the campaign manager for us in this campaign, but he's one of the executive directors of the Conservative Party. And he said, let's have a conversation with them about what they're doing with the Conservative Party. And that's where I got to really know and understand the work that Angelo had done, along with Connor Gibson, the other executive director. And I tell you something, those guys, along with the team that was part of the Conservative Party, all the volunteers at the time, because we had no money, we had nothing at the time, and so they just did an incredible job building up something that could actually be used in this province. So, you know, taking a party from absolutely nothing with no money and putting us in this situation today has been a remarkable job, and it's the people that were behind it, that working at the party, that just, you know, a huge thank you to them. They have done such a remarkable job to bring life into the Conservative Party of British Columbia. And I could tell you all the stories that went on, but it would take way too long. The stuff that happened behind the scenes as the party grew, all the growing pains and stuff. And it took a very strong president to make sure that to hold the ship going in the right direction, to keep things happening. So, Asia, thank you so much for the work that you did. Tremendous amount of work by that young lady. The whole team has been just remarkable to work with, and I want to take a second just to thank the team in my riding, in Chaco Lakes. I only got to spend one day, or even half a day, I should say, during the campaign in my riding, and they fought very hard to make sure that we won that riding. And so just a huge thank you to Nathan Giddy and the whole team up in the Chaco Lakes for the work that they did. And last, I want to call my wife up here. Kim, come up and join me on the stage. Kim has been an incredible rock for me, supporting me the whole way through. And a matter of fact, I wouldn't be doing this here if Kim hadn't actually talked me into this. She really did an incredible thing. She pushed hard. She said, you know what? If you're not going to stand up and do this, who will? And she pushed hard to say, it's time, we need to do this. We need as a family to do this sacrifice, to do this work. And I'm very proud of Kim and the work that she's done and the support. It's been absolutely incredible. So Kim, I love you, sweetie. Thank you so much for everything. So all I can say is this: we are going to carry on this fight. We are going to fight every single day here. This election is not over. We have an opportunity still to form government in the province of British Columbia and bring common sense change to British Columbia. So thank you once again, and I tell you something, I really look forward to the work ahead. We will make sure that the Conservative Party carries forward in this province as the next dynasty to be able to provide good government for British Columbia. And it doesn't matter. We are going to carry on with this fight one way or the other. And my hope is that sometime next week, we're going to be in a different situation. And that's only because of you guys. So let's carry on. Let's carry on with the fight, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.